Hi, this is Ms. Garcia. We're going to review for your benchmark on Friday, and I need everybody to pay attention. We're going to start talking about the dependent and independent. So the first thing that I want you to remember is that you have X and you also have Y. And I want you to remember that the X is always independent. Notice it has two legs, it can walk by herself. Well, the Y always depends on X. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go in, I'm going to look at these problems that we have here. And I really need everybody to listen. So we have the important information here is the following. It says that the number of gallons of gas that they need to budget for is a function of the total miles they drive. So that is my information that is very important. Now, what do that mean is? Well, we know the word is means equals, right? So is a function of the total miles they drive. So I need to understand that in this case, what I have is a dependent and independent variable. So if I want to go from here to McAllen, well, I can make it probably in 5 gallons, 10 gallons. But if I want to go from here to the Grand Canyon, I'm not going to make it in 5 gallons. So my total of gallons is going to be dependent on what? On the miles that I'm going to drive. So for problem number 1, I supposed to have an answer of letter C, the number of gallons of gas. Now, when I look at the second problem, I notice that they are giving me a function is described by this equation, and the replacement set for the independent variable is this. So what does that mean, replacement? That I'm going to change the value for X for every single one that I have in here. So I notice that I have X and I have Y. And this is my values. And independent, who's independent, X or Y? Well, the X. So I'm going to put him here. I'm going to put -4. I'm going to put 3, 5, and 7. And now, very simple, I'm going to put this in my calculator. And I think this is a typo. I believe this is a minus here. And I'm going to put it in my calculator, and I'm going to take my table out. And I'm going to fill in this table. So for this problem, I know the answer has to be J. Now, I look again. We're talking about dependent and independent. And now it says that I have Raymond is saving this amount of money. And this is my function over here. And what do we know? If I want to graph this function, I don't put it like this in the calculator. This looks like something that I already know as mx plus b. That's how it looks. So you need to remember y, in this case f, depends on whatever happened on the right. Now 3,500 is where I already have. But if I want to put this in the calculator, I'm not going to type m. I'm going to type which letter? I'm going to type the letter X. So if I actually write the letter X over here, well, that is telling me that this M is actually my X. And my X, we said previously, it is independent. So what is M representing? M is representing the total amount of money after n months. No, is representing the number of months. So that's what I have for that problem. Now, if we look at the next one, still dependent, independent, I want to make an equation so you can actually see it. What do I know? I know that the price of gas is $3.12 per gallon. So I can write it as G equals, because that's my gallons of gas, to what? 312 per gallon. What do that mean per gallon? Every time that I see the word per, I know this is my slope. So that's gonna be X. So what do I know? Well, I know if I get confused, I make a table. I said, okay, this is X, this is Y. Okay? And what is X representing? X is representing what? The number of gallons. And what is Y representing? The amount of money I'm gonna pay. So if I don't buy anything, I don't pay anything. If I buy 1 gallon, I pay 312. If I buy 2 gallons, I pay 624. So what do I know? Well, I know that the money depends on what? On the amount of gas I'm putting into my car. So then the number of gallons that you buy is going to be what? These are my number of gallons. That is my independent quantity. So in this case, my answer is letter C. Now, the next one is talking about, same thing, D equals RT. And I notice D depends on whatever happens to RT. So I know D is not independent. D has to be dependent. So who depends? Well, the distance depends on what? On this product, the product of the rate and the time. So I am going to look here, and when you look at your answers, I notice that distance driven depends only on the time driven? No. Only on the rate? No. So the distance driven is independent of the rate driven in time? Or the rate driven in time are the independent quantities? So that is my true statement. Now, when I look at the next page, we're talking about our inequalities. And I want you to notice that Letty is going to sell candies, and she's going to earn 50 cents for every candy she sells. So I notice, and you need to think, if I sell 1 candy, the school gets 50 cents. If I sell 2 candies, it's $1, and so on. Now, the problem is that if you look at this side, it's not going to help me, because everything is multiplying 50 cents for every candy. This M is not going to help me. So I really have to look at my inequalities. Now, if I sell 10 candies times 50 cents, my amount could be always equal. So I cancel B and I cancel C. That's the first thing that I notice. Now, M is the money. My money is gonna be less or equal than 50 cents per candy, or the money is gonna be greater or equal to 50 cents per candy. What do you think is the answer? Between A and D. The money is going to always be greater or equal to 50 cents per candy. Now, number 8. I'm looking at this equation can be represented. Now, I need to remember, first thing that I do, I write the word slope. And the reason why I do this is because I want to know if this guy is positive or negative. And I notice my word is going up, so my answer has to be positive. So you cancel letter F. That's not a possible answer. Now, I look at this point. This is my y-intercept. If this is my y-intercept, you notice it's crossing at which point? 1, 2, 3, but it's negative. So I'm crossing at -3. So what do you say? G is out. So you are between H and J. But in order for me to know the slope, what I do is the following. I take 2 points. Now, the points, remember, they have to be exact points. I take that one. I think that one looks good. And I remember the slope is rise over run. So you go up 1, 2, and 1. So it's 2 up, 1 to the right, so the slope is 2 over 1. So my correct answer is letter J. Okay. Now this one, I believe that's a typo here. I believe in this one you should have 1 multiplication, 1 division, 1 subtraction. So just think about it. You will find the height, and this height, and I know this height is going to always be multiplied by 3. So in this case, I believe it's B, but there is a typo there. Okay, number 10, I don't have a problem with that one. This is one of the questions that you do not miss because I just need to graph it and I need to match my function. So you graph this, you take the table out, and you notice that the numbers have to be correct. So in this case, so I go to my calculator and it says 3x. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to graph it. And I know mine is the old one. I haven't had a chance to update it. So of course, I'm at home right now. It's 3x squared plus 2x and minus 5. And what I'm going to do, I graph it. I know it's a quadratic function because of the exponent. And then you are going to match these values. So when I'm matching the values, negative 3 goes to 16. So I check here. Negative 3 goes to 16. And you check all the values. And for this problem, my answer, I believe, is F. Okay, guys. Number 11, you do the same thing. It says the graph of the quadratic function passes through these points, and you need to know which is the same relationship. So, let's look at this. They are talking about a quadratic function, right? So, I'm going to look right away at these points. Negative 5 goes with 1. 2 goes with negative 6. 3 goes with negative 15, and 6 goes with negative 54. Very simple question. Okay. I'm gonna just go over the ones that I really want you to remember. Notice number 14. A lot of students are getting confused, so let me do 14. What I do here is that you need to remember they are giving you the table. And now I need to take the table out. So I'm going to go over this one. So let's see how we are going to do that. I'm going to start Control I. I'm going to start a new document. And then what I'm going to do, I am going to say, okay, I'm going to take my data because the points are very big to graph them. So I put my values for X. I put my values for Y. And the reason why I did not put the points is because the points are too big. Okay, so I have 3, I have 5, I have 8. And then I have 216, 360, and 576. And what I'm going to do now, okay, what I'm going to do now, I am going to say, okay, I need to take these. So I am going to start the pink one, and you click tab. And this is my X. I click tab, this is my Y. And remember, I know it's a line. They were telling me it's a line. So I go here to menu. And then I go and I analyze. It's a regression and it's linear. And this is my equation, 72x. With this in mind, what I'm going to do is what? Well, I know it's 72x. And it looks like a line like that, but it's not. I look at the table, and they're asking me for specific numbers, and I just look for those numbers. At 12 is 8,